Hi, this is going to be a video on my Beatles DVD collection. I'm going to start off here with the Beatles' first US visit, which was a kind of like an audio verite documentary, much in the same style as Bob Dylan's Don't Look Back. It was uh, filmed by the Maysles brothers. I believe that's the way that you pronounce it. And it's a fascinating look. It's obviously the Beatles' first trip to America. There are the film performances from their Washington show, Ed Sullivan, all the backstage, all the hotel, radio interviews, everything that they did. And there was a lot of almost like a fly on the wall view to what was happening during their trip to America. So it's really an excellent excellent film if you're a Beatles fan. This is the 2-disc Miramax release of A Hard Day's Night. The first disc is the film itself, and the second disc contains some mini documentaries, some interviews with people that were a part of the film. And unfortunately, this is Harvey Weinstein's company that put this out, but this was the first available DVD release, to my understanding, of A Hard Day's Night. You know, the second disc is okay. It's, interesting to just kind of flip through and see all the different little documentaries and interviews and things like that. This is the Criterion collection of A Hard Day's Night. It's only one disc. And this has some special features that include some mini documentaries, The Making of A Hard Day's Night, You Can't Do That, which is what it was subtitled. Phil Collins is the one who hosts that. This was available on VHS. If you saw my Beatles VHS episode, you saw that particular video. And there's just some small trailers, an essay, and so not a whole lot in the way of extras on here, but it's just another copy, another version to have. This is Help. I believe this is the only available version on DVD. This also is a 2-disc set. Comes with a booklet here that's got some photographs, some essays talking about the making of the movie. Now, as much as I like A Hard Day's Night, Help is fun. It's not, to me, as interesting or as compelling as A Hard Day's Night was. It's a little closer to the Monkees TV series, I guess. There's a little more kind of, number one is in color, number two, they're in the Bahamas, they're in, I forget where they are, where the snowy scenes are, but there's some jumping around from London to, I forget where the skiing scenes were filmed at, but, it's fun. To me, I enjoy it, but not nearly as much as I like A Hard Day's Night. Still have never seen this in the theater. I've seen A Hard Day's Night a couple times when they've been showing, some classic films. So I've seen that. I've actually seen A Hard Day's Night in the, what do you call that? The IMAX, which was very cool. So that is Help. This is obviously Magical Mystery Tour. This was released in a 1 CD set or in the box set. I do have the box set back there, which is I show in my Magical Mystery Tour episode. And the booklet here is a little bit slight. It's got some interesting photographs and credits and whatnot. This is the piece of pie where they kind of divided up the plot, what that was going to look like. But visual quality of it is amazing. It's just a really gorgeous film compared to some of the VHS releases. So this is definitely the best version to see the film if you have not. I did have the pleasure of watching this. It was the anniversary, I think it was last year. I forget, last year or the year before. I believe it was in 2018. Got to see this on the big screen for the first time. And this is a 1-disc set. And the cool thing about this DVD package is it comes with these transparent pictures. They were like, I guess, I don't know what we'd call them, film slides or stills or something. Although they're kind of fingerprinted up because I've been touching them. There's George. It's advertising the Cirque du Soleil. It's got a booklet. It's got the original movie poster as a cover. Again, some photographs, essay, credits. And some stickers. Now, as I'm looking at this, I think my kids must have gotten to this because I definitely did not peel these 2 stickers off of here. This is the first time I'm actually realizing that they're gone. But, you know, so you got some extras, some bonus stuff in here, which, you know, makes it an attractive package. And this, I'm not sure what year this was released. Here's one of them. And I know this had to have been one of my kids. Ringo was stuck here. So, and he's ripped. All right, well, what are you going to do? And it comes in, you know, a nice little slipcase here. The Beatles peering out of the yellow submarine. And this is a bootleg DVD of Let It Be, the film. Not bad quality, but not near the quality I think that we're going to see next year when the official DVD release comes out. But I got this like 10 years ago. It's my first time actually seeing the movie, except for some clips on MTV or some videos here and there. I really enjoy this movie. I don't see the Beatles bickering, or I don't get the sense that this is a band breaking up from watching this movie, in spite of the narrative that has been put forward, you know, the last 40-some years. It's actually an enjoyable film. It's really the Beatles at work, the Beatles creating an album, a film of the album, of the concert that ended up being the rooftop concert. This is what that DVD looks like. I know out there's some 2-disc versions with some extra material on it, but that version's good enough for me. Then we have the Beatles Anthology, which is just an incredible documentary. These are what all the DVDs themselves look like. If you're a Beatles fan and you haven't watched this, what the hell are you doing? Stop right away. Stop watching this video right away and start watching the anthology. This has a bonus disc full of some extra features, some extra footage of the 3 Beatles talking and being interviewed and in the studios and whatnot. So just a fantastic package. Definitely the best documentary that there will ever be on the Beatles, for my money. This is the 4 Ed Sullivan Shows, complete historic Ed Sullivan Shows, and that means you get all the commercials in the middle, which is fun. Watching the entire unedited broadcast, the original from February 1964, and then when they were on location in Miami. So there's 4 complete shows here. They do pretty much the songs that were part of their concert repertoire back in the day. You get the other acts that were actually on the show. It's not just all Beatles, but you have, one thing that's interesting for Monkees fans is in the very first episode on here, it's a cast of Oliver. So Davy Jones was part of that first Ed Sullivan broadcast that the Beatles were on. He's part of the Oliver cast. They do a version of I'll Do Anything for You. There's also Frank Gorshin, who played the Riddler on the Beatles. I'm sorry, the Batman 1965 TV series. He's on one of these episodes. He was a popular comedian before he really became even more popular with as the Riddler in the Batman series. You've got Cab Calloway doing a couple songs, which is very cool. Soupy Sales, Cilla Black is on some of these. So they're from February 9th, 1964, February 16th, 1964, February 23rd, 1964, and then there's a performance from September 12th, 1965. On my VHS episode, I showed the videotape that I had of this. This is the DVD version, so the same material that was on the video is on that. This is a documentary. It's not been authorized by the Beatles, so there's not any original Beatles music in here, but it's just different people talking about how the Beatles changed the cultural landscape, not only of America, but around the world, fashion, music, just all the trends that were going on in the 60s. So it's an interesting documentary. And then the last Beatles related DVD I have is the 8 Days a Week Ron Howard documentary, which is just also fantastic. There's a little booklet here with essays and photographs and things. Now I'm going to move on to my John Lennon DVD collection. This is the Plastic Ono Band live in Toronto at there was some rock and roll festival that was going on in 1969. They had John Lennon and Eric Clapton, and I believe Klaus Voormann was part of the band. So they do some oldies hits, but there's also performances from the other acts. There's Bo Diddley, Jerry Lee Lewis doing Hound Dog, Little Richard doing Lucille, and then you have John Lennon and his band, the Plastic Ono Band as it was at the time, Blue Suede Shoes, Money, Dizzy Miss Lizzie, Your Blues. Then they do Cold Turkey, Give Peace a Chance. And then there's a couple Yoko tracks on here. Don't Worry, Kyoko, Mummy's Only Looking for Her Hand in the Snow. And then John, Let's Hope for Peace. And it just kind of devolves into this feedback-drenched Yoko kind of doing her Yoko, wailing, and John messing around with feedback and his guitar. So kind of a very trippy way to end that concert for sure. Next one I have is the Classic Albums Plastic Ono Band. If you're familiar with this series, they take an album, they dissect it, talk about what made it great, listen to some of the tracks isolated, just talk about everything surrounding the album. So this is great. It's got some interviews with Ringo, and I think Klaus Voormann, but it's cool video. This is Give Me Some Truth, which was the documentary about the making of the Imagine album and the Imagine film. This is the first time that the Imagine film, the sort of video diary, if you will, that John Lennon and Yoko filmed and produced, was released on DVD. It had been out on video for a long time, but this was paired with the Give Me Some Truth. So you have Give Me Some Truth on here, the documentary, and then you also have the Imagine film. And Above Us Only Sky, which came out last year, which was a documentary of the entire year 1971, pretty much, the making of the Imagine movie, or the film, and the album, and John and Yoko's moved to New York. So this is a really great documentary if you have not seen it. Then I've got John and Yoko on the Dick Cavett Show. This is a 2-disc set, and this has 3 shows. It's got the September 11th, 1971. Their appearance on the Dick Cavett Show, September 24th, 1971. And then they've got the May 11th, 1972, where Shirley MacLaine is a featured guest. And there's also a bonus featurette, which is kind of a mini documentary about Cavett and the Lennons, the relationship between John and Yoko and Dick Cavett. This is the Imagine documentary from the 80s. This is the U.S. versus John Lennon, which was a documentary about John Lennon's fight, him fighting deportation in the mid-70s after he was labeled by targeted by the Nixon administration and the FBI, kind of as a threat. And so they went after him, tried to deport him, and this is a really great documentary, not just about the case, John fighting to stay in the U.S., but also kind of a little history of John coming to the U.S. after the Beatles broke up, and so it's a pretty well-rounded documentary. This is Lennon Legend, which is a collection of John videos. Some of these have been produced. They're a little bit newer videos. They were, I think, Yoko had commissioned new videos for some of these tracks. Some of them are older videos and footage, but unlike the John Lennon collection, which is on VHS, which contained the original videos, some of these videos have been updated, and I know that's kind of rubbed some fans the wrong way, but it is what it is. And the last John DVD that I have is Lennon New York City, which covers the entire New York City period from his arrival in New York City in 1971, where he came to stay, through his assassination. So it's a really great documentary on that period, and they cover some of John's backstory as well, but it's a very well done documentary. Moving on to my Paul DVDs, this is Rock Show, which of course was a document of the Wings Over America tour from, I believe it was 1976 or thereabout, 75, 76. You get a nice size booklet in here with essays and photographs and whatnot. This is just a 1-disc set. And it's got the full film and a bonus feature, A Very Lovely Party, which is a mini documentary. This is Wingspan, which is the history of Wings from rising from the ashes of the Beatles until Paul's arrest in Japan and the subsequent breakup of Wings after the Back to the Egg album. So that is a very enjoyable documentary. This is Give My Regards to Broad Street, Paul's much maligned film from, I think it was 1984. I enjoy this movie for what it is. I've watched Paul in just about anything. Some people wouldn't like it. If you're a non-Beatles fan, you probably wouldn't care for it too much. But if you are a Beatles fan, especially a Paul fan, you will find it enjoyable. He does re-record a number of Beatles songs along with some originals, and some of his solo stuff he does re-record. This is Paul back in the U.S. I will say one thing about Paul's videos in the late 80s and early 90s. There's a lot of self-congratulation that goes on. And I enjoy Paul videos, but there's a lot of, interviews with people saying how great Paul is. Just too many shots of the audience just looking so enthralled with the concert. I could do with a little less of that. There's another DVD, The Space Between Us or something like that, which it just goes over the top just with the Paul. You have so many people interviewed just telling Paul how great he is. And I mean, Paul is great, no question about it, but just to hear it over and over, it's like, we get it, we know. He was in the Beatles, he's one of the greatest songwriters of our generation, if not all time. Like, we get it, okay? And, you know, but you may not agree, but that's just kind of the impression that I get, or what the impression that I'm left with nonetheless. But this is you know, a great, I don't know if this was from the same concert. I think it's clips from different concerts, but, you know, a great Paul at his best, performing live. This was live at the Cavern Club with David Gilmour as one of the featured guitarists. So this has that concert. It's really fun. It's not the original Cavern Club, but it's what, you know, stands for the Cavern Club right now, or what basically is calling itself the Cavern Club. So, you know, it's a cool concert. I like that. He does a lot of oldies, a lot of the songs from the Run Devil Run album. This came out right after Run Devil Run, so good video. And then this is The Love You Make, which was chronicling Paul during and after 9/11, and the concert that he helped put together for the Heroes in New York City. Especially if you lived through 9/11, if you were there on that day, and you remember. It's just a really nice kind of, you know, way to document what was going on in a unique way, kind of from Paul's perspective, not only from Paul's perspective, but, you know, definitely Paul's music was, you know, I think critical to helping a lot of us heal during that time from the trauma of that event. This is Paul McCartney in Red Square, which is another Paul concert, and more, you know, interviews people saying how great Paul is, and, you know, I won't say much more about that, but great DVD. And a must own if you're a videophile like I am. I love Paul's videos. Some of these are so funny because Paul has, especially like for My Love and some of the other videos. And I should say this is a collection of Paul's videos. This is called McCartney Years. And it is a multi-disc, 3 discs as part of this. I really love the hell out of this. This has got some the performances from Rock Show. It's got some performances from his Unplugged performance. It's got a Glastonbury set that he did. It's got some Live Aid extras. It has all Paul's videos over the years from the 70s and 80s, not necessarily in order, although you can play them in order. I mean, just a total wealth of videos. I love the hell out of this because I love just seeing Paul through the different stages. I always thought his videos were very creative. I love the Pipes of Peace video and some of his other videos from back in the day. So this is just a really great. If you love Paul, you'll love that video to death, like I do. And then the last DVD that I have, which I really enjoy this a lot. This was from Kisses on the Bottom, the DVD that came out after that album. It's sort of the recording of that album. There's some live performances of that with Diana Krall, Stevie Wonder, Eric Clapton, and some of the other musicians. It's just it's all in black and white. It's very intimate, but I really enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed it a lot more than I kind of expected, because I'm not too much into, you know, Paul McCartney, you know, covering the standards. But I will say I enjoy this a lot more than I thought I would, and now I enjoy the album a lot more than I thought I would too. So that covers my Paul McCartney. I've got 2 here from George Harrison. This was the concert for George, which features Jeff Lynne and Tom Petty and Danny Harrison performing some of George's best hits. This is a 2-disc set. Some members from Monty Python. This concert was from 2002 at the Royal Albert Hall. I think the anniversary of George passing away. Then I've also got the excellent is it 2 discs? Yep, it's, although this is kind of come apart here a little bit, but nonetheless, it's 2 discs. It's like a 4-hour documentary. It's really excellent. It's almost a George Harrison anthology. Really a fantastic look back at George's life. George might be my favorite Beatle, but that is my DVD collection. Thanks for watching. Love to see your comments below, and take care.